Hubris. These people lived like emperors. If you believe the things that are alleged, right? If you believe what has been alleged, this guy in the flagship store at Macy's pistol whipped the guy, forced him to his knees to perform oral sex with 4 people standing there watching, right? This is a kind of arrogance and hubris, if it really exists, that doesn't exist anywhere else. And I think it kind of, these people in Hollywood get to a point where they feel like, you can't hurt me. I'm a pharaoh. I'm a king.
I had to drum up the Lionel.
Merry Christmas, Lionel. How's it going, my friend?
Indeed. How are you, sir?
Have you seen this news on Jay-Z, the judge that's just come out in the last hour, the ruling?
Please, I have not. Read it to me, but in your own inimitable way, sir. Don't hold back.
Well, I'll just paraphrase. But basically, they blasted Jay-Z's team for all of these demands for a speedy resolution, for a dismissal. They blasted them for saying that Busby is trying to extort them. Busby's trying to create media circus. The judges reversed everything that Jay-Z's legal team has demanded. The judge has gone completely against it.
Let me read this. Let me look at this. You say in the last. Oh, here we go. Tony Busby gains the upper hand. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. Let me see what this says. Continue to talk, and I'll give you my learned opinion of this. Just one second.
Valued educational experience.
Indeed.
Yeah. So we feel that this is a breakthrough for the people who are exposing these people. Don't we, Tommy?
Well, no, not necessarily. I hate to say it to you, but I'm reading this, the 5-page order. Let me see the order.
Lionel's going to bring us all back down to earth now, folks. Us stirrers of the pot.
Reading this one more.
Oh, but this is just prefatory stuff. This is not even a charge. There's nothing that's happened yet. Yeah. Terrific.
Guys, real neat. And I'll say this, and I'll be quiet for Lionel. Miss Natanya and Beverly are talking in WhatsApp, and Miss Beverly came up with a name, and that name was Miss Natanya's nickname from like 30 years ago. Just food for thought. So for anybody who doesn't believe Miss Beverly, put your hand down because she's real. I believe. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Lionel, this broadcast, one of our podcast guests who was on earlier this week has gone missing. He was stirring the Jay-Z pot, and hence a lot of people concerned right now.
Yes. Well, that's the risk one takes in going on the Sean Atwood show.
Indeed.
Because, I mean, think about this. You got the Azerbaijan flight, you've got people on certain islands, and your show. Whatever happened to ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
It makes a good point.
Okay, look at the order. Number 1, the plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously is granted. Okay. Point number 2, remaining orders. Since Carter's attorney first appeared in the case 17 days ago, he has submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of plaintiff's lawyer, many of them expounding on the purported urgency of his case. Whoa, wait a minute, hold it. It's like almost like, how dare you file letters? What are you're anyway. So I think that's interesting. That goes to show you a bit of a tenor, a tenor perhaps. I also smell a recusal motion. Keep it up, Judge. The more you say, the more it gets shifted away. Just because, look at this. Can we get a fair trial? Even it's one thing when the defendant says, "Can I get a fair trial?" It's not even in defending it. When the lawyer says, "Can I get a fair trial?" That's pretty good. Carter's lawyers' relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic unlikely to benefit his client. The court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. Moreover, Although Carter's attorney assails plaintiff's lawyer as having a chronic inability to follow the rules, Carter's counsel has failed to abide by his court's clear rules. So this is very, very good, very interesting. So what happens? We'll see. It's just I don't think this is the end of the matter, but I think this is as normally motions go, they're very cut and dry. This is good.
That's a win from Lionel then. Thumbs up.
No, it's like it's the first. It's like you're watching a boxing match and, oh, that was a good one. This is not even 5 minutes into the first round. In fact, we haven't even got into this is in the weigh-in. Did you see this? He slapped him in the way. Hasn't even started yet. So this is good. And listen, this is terrific as far as Alex Spiro. He's got to, normally, by the way, federal court is very, very deliberate. No cameras. We don't like this. Very slow. Even during the Trump case with E. Jean Carroll and others, it was always, he just got up and said, I'm getting out of here. It was almost like, can you come back, please? Very, very sedate, very calm. This is pretty good. So it remains to be seen. I did tell you one, Sean, Tommy, and Shane as well. This is going to be better than anything from the guy whose name begins with E. You know what I mean? This is good by virtue of the people involved and all of the attitude being taken. And what I also like is you have this Alex Spiro, this lawyer who's considered. Remember, this is Elon Musk's lawyer. He represents the New York mayor of New York City. You don't normally want to call attention to your client. You want it to be very, very quiet. There was a guy years ago named James LaRosa. He represented Paul Castellano, Big Paul, who was, of course, killed in 1985 in front of Sparks. You don't even know the guy's name. You never heard anything. It was always, let's go over here. That's my attitude. Be quiet, over here. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were Sean, Jay-Z, I'd pick up the phone and say, what are you doing? You're supposed to help me. What are you doing? What am I paying you this money for? I'm worse now, and nothing's happening. You're filing motions, and you're pissing the judge off. Filing motions. Do it very, very sterilely. We have a fast track. No. Okay, that's it. As opposed to, and you impugn. And now you get into things where you get local rules, you have bar rules. It's never an ad hominem. You don't, I mean, even in the case of Rudy Giuliani, where they just ripped this guy to shreds, it was very gentlemanly. Counsel, exceeds the bounds of the evidence adduced. This is like really rough stuff. So I think Jay-Z's lawyer is going to kind of calm down, and in a day or two, it'll be forgotten. Today's what? Thursday, Friday. It'll be forgotten. But it is interesting.
Guys, real quick, there's a person in chat that says Juice Talk TV claims Ronnie Bowe was shot, but I can't find anything on it. Sorry to break in.
How credible is Juice Talk TV? Do they?
I looked at their channel, and the last thing they had on Ronnie was like 4 months ago.
How many subs they got?
How many subs?
10,000.
Well, if it's a million, if they've got a lot, we know they're doing their due diligence. That's why I'm asking.
No, it's 10,000, but he's been a guest on the show a couple of times.
Okay.
He's been there live a couple of times.
Right, gotcha.
Okay.
So a lot of people, Lionel, are asking for your thoughts on Luigi.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's the best. Did you see how he and his lawyer wore the same outfit?
Yeah.
It's selling out the cardigan.
I'm sorry?
His cardigan is selling out all over the world.
These people are so demented. This is what I would do if I were the prosecutor. I would sit there and say, the best thing going, well, first of all, the best thing going for, remember, there are two cases. There's the New York case and now the federal case. But the thing is, what I like to say is the best thing going for the people in New York is that Mr., and I would always say his name incorrectly. I would always say it about Mr. Mangione, I would always change it. I would always drive him crazy because he is a hubristic. Remember, let's kind of profile him. He's this guy who really thinks he's something. He thinks he is so. Oh my God! He thinks he is so smart. He's so brilliant. He thinks he's the second coming of the Unabomber. I would make fun of this. What is this? This page and a half scribbling? I've seen stuff on men's room walls that were more lucid than this. Now, what I would do, I would drive him nuts, absolutely crazy, because that's the bottom line. And I would also tell him, like, thank God we have somebody who's so bloody stupid as this guy to basically leave him or to put himself. Oops. To put himself into this, how do I say, this position. Hang on a minute here.
You logged in twice, Lionel.
If I am, talk amongst yourselves, gentlemen.
I'll give you a topic.
We did this once
Anyway.
before, Lionel.
Let me do some standby.
I got rid of you from this end. Don't worry, Lionel. I fixed it from this end.
All right.
There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, you're fine.
I like having that effect, that kind of like this kind of a Twilight Zone sound. But what he is he fancies himself as being so smart. He came in first in his high school class. So what? They're comparing him to Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski wrote a manifesto that took the New York Times. They're still printing it. It's like 800,000 words of I don't know what. This guy scribbled on the back of a napkin, and he's a genius. This schmuck gets popped in a McDonald's in Altoona by taking his mask off. It wasn't the FBI. By the way, it's a good way to dig. It wasn't the FBI. It wasn't the NYPD. It was some guy who said, isn't that the guy who's in Altoona, Pennsylvania? This is, so they got him. They nabbed him. Now, one question I have, and this is one of the things which is I find the most important. We'll get to the facts. They found this ghost gun. This is a 3D printed gun, all right? That was supposedly used at the time. Remember at first how they said it was an OSS? It was this model. They went off, and it was a model of a gun that was used by veterinarians. Nonsense. It was a plastic thing he made. Okay, fine. Is there, and maybe you know this better than I do, is there rifling in that barrel so that when you take that slug out of Thompson, the dead CEO, can you match it with the gun that they found him with, the ghost gun? If there's no ballistics, if it's like a Derringer or something that just, where there's no rifling, that's a big deal. I don't care what he wrote. I don't care his thoughts. I don't care his ideas. If there's no evidence, if that matches perfectly, because we have the new police commissioner, Tish, who looks like, well, she looks like one of the stand-ins for the banjo player in Deliverance. I mean, we're looking like she's, we're looking like a few missing chromosomes here. Neurologist Mendele going, what the hell's that? I've never heard of this one. You got a nice mouth, boy. Anyway, so there she is. So she says, the other day, she says, and the rifle casings, the bullet casings match. Hold it. The bullet casings? You mean the brass? You mean it has brass? What are you talking about? By the way, stand by to make it even more interesting. The NYPD, the head, the chief of operation, whatever, this big guy forced to retire, was basically going to another police officer forced to retire who basically made $9 million in overtime. She worked more, whatever, basically compelled her to have sex with him. This is the NYPD. So this is another story. So this is like, then we got the mayor, then we got the NYPD, and then we got Jethro, this woman who's walking around, who used to be in charge of sanitation. She used to salt the streets, pick up garbage. Now she's the police commissioner in the biggest murder. Now, it gets ready. Hang on, Shane. Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Look at Shane frozen in this peephole into the next universe. Okay. Aside from that, the Department of Justice supposedly hates the death penalty. Joe Biden theoretically commuted 37 death sentences. 37. 3 short, up to and including one of the Tsarnaev brothers. Remember the flying Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston massacre? The great Howie Carr calls them speed bump and flashbang. One of them was run over. Remember that? That's speed bump. And flashbang, they found him in a boat. They threw this percussion grenade. He's in this little boat. They were in this thing. Boom. His ears have been ringing for 12 years. Okay. He was the subject of the death penalty from the Barack Obama Department of Justice. They hate the death penalty except for him. He commuted the sentence of the worst child killers you can imagine. So follow me on this. This is so labyrinthine, it's crazy. So he hates the death penalty except for this guy. He commuted everybody's death sentence except this guy. Now, back to Luigi Mangione. Remember, always say his name wrong. It'll drive him crazy. Say,
I call him Lug Mangoni.
And Mangione means glutton or big eater in Italian.
That's it.
That or
Mangione.
the cattle are dying. I forget what.
Horseshack.
Horseshack. Very good. I love you. That is the most arcane. That is the most arcane lore. You and I must be on the same page. One of these, I'll tell you where Jim Ignatowski from Taxi got his name. That's a different story. Now, so as this case is happening, and the New York charge him with terrorism and all of this stuff, in this idea that people are saying the reason why they charge him with terrorism is to negate the possibility of a death of an insanity defense, which I still don't understand. Wait, here comes the DOJ saying we're jumping in with this charge that gives you the death penalty and life. Wait a minute. You're supposed to hate the death penalty, except this one. Wait a minute. I'm Alvin Bragg. You gave me this piece of garbage case that your Department of Justice came up with, and I had to prosecute Trump with it. I've done everything for you. So now I finally got a case that maybe this is like a killer. You interrupted and say, no, we're taking over. We're going to do it because you used a firearm when there's a death. So now we're looking at the death penalty. And we also have a new president with a new Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, who's going to say, we like that. We want to make an example out of you. You just went after a corporate CEO from a president who used to be a corporate CEO. So this is a labyrinth among a labyrinth, and you can have all of the. I love when these people come forward and say, Your Honor, this is a circus. Can we get a fair trial? It's like, do you know how many times people, where do you think, what planet, honey, do you want to go to? By the way, she, listen to this, was the head ADA under, I think, Cy Vance or whatever, but she knows her stuff. Her husband is Diddy's lawyer. Jay-Z's lawyer is Eric Adams' lawyer. I mean, meanwhile, Shane's driving off the road in his Yugo because this is not.
Lionel,
Now,
I don't
remember,
think Yugo.
once they link that gun, then we're talking. Then all bets are off. Now, you want to go to the insanity defense? Go ahead. Go ahead. So let me get this. You're crazy. You're crazy. You don't know the difference between right and wrong. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Mangione? You're saying you don't know under the McNaughton rule. You were so crazed, you don't know right from wrong. So let me ask you a question. When you were getting on your little bike and tooling away and speeding away and taking off your clothes, you were getting away because you knew it was wrong. Thank you. So we're supposed to believe that because of your neck pain and you can't have sex and this and that. that
That was-
you didn't know what was right or wrong. You weren't standing there yelling, "Who ordered the veal cutlet? Beam me up, Scotty! I got him! I took one for the team." That might be a good one. But putting in this and running and taking off and jumping on a bus to get away, because as you know, in the jury instructions, flight is always a consideration. Just like with O.J. Simpson, when O.J. Simpson says, you were getting away. It's called retreat. So this case is going nowhere. And you can, and by the way, gentlemen, I hate to hog this thing. You know, and I know, since Richard Ramirez, remember him? He was the Night Stalker, Ted
Night
Bundy.
Stalker.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, he was the nastiest, skankiest, smelliest. But people loved him. He wrote the pentagram on his hand, and there were the Hillside Stranglers, Bono and Bianchi. I don't think they had it, but people loved John Gotti. People loved the Menendez brothers. People have always found these bad boys, you know, and these twits, these pencil neck little twits, these puerile little juvenescent tits who think all of a sudden, oh, I understand that he stood for something. He did not. He shot a guy who had nothing to do with whatever it was. One guy who basically was following orders, and you did it in front of the world on cameras, and you wrote down Mr. Genius, Mr. Like the Leopold and Loeb. Now, those were smart guys. This is a schmuck. This is Gomer Pyle here. He's writing this down. We got you. What is it? And they got you in Altoona at a McDonald's where they have cameras, and all of the McDonald's cameras are on clouds with facial recognition. They can in once. I mean, I would mock him. Stupid. He's a child. All his life, he's thought he was smarter than people, and he's not. And another thing, too, is don't be surprised next if there are questions about, I'm just saying, questions about his sexuality. And look what that does both to him and to his followers. Because remember, when we were going after bin Laden, theoretically, there was talk about them spreading the news that he was gay, whether it's true or not, because they wanted to destroy the image in this very homophobic society. So anyway, this is a lot to grasp.
All right, we've got a question from Bill. I'll put it to Tommy first and then Lionel. Do you think Busby has an ace of spades up his sleeve, Tommy?
I think he's a lot smarter than a lot of people give him credit for. You keep hearing people pop up, and I don't know whether or not that's because they're getting paid for it or what, but there's a narrative now of just how smart and intelligent the team over with Rock Nation is, and how they're going to shred this hick lawyer from Texas. And I don't see it. I think this guy had a case against the people of BlackRock. I don't think he's terribly afraid of fighting with some wannabe gangsters from New York who honestly. I mean, it looks like they're breaking some laws in this, allegedly, right? They're sending people out with fake badges and whatever. But I wouldn't count that guy out. And as far as Chuck Mangione goes, I didn't realize the guy couldn't have sex. That would have pissed me off too. You know what I mean? Like in his defense, that would make me angry.
Now, by the way, just to bring you up to speed, my friend, don't forget Chuck's brother, the great Gap Mangione, one of the few. I mean, this is really arcane. We're going into the deep, dark recesses of rock lore. When you ask a very simple question, it doesn't matter how big you are. If I've got the case, if I bring somebody who's paralyzed in a wheelchair, who is blind, and says, hypothetically, Jay-Z did this to me. You did this. I want justice. I don't care who you are. The jury's going to say, how much? How much? Give me a pen. How much? How much you want? How many zeros? I don't care who you are, where you're from, where you went to law school. If you've got the witness and they're believable, why do you think Diddy settled so fast with Cassie? What was that about? Because he was nice? You think no, you can't. I mean, it takes you sometimes 6 months to get a docket. I mean, just a number for your. No. See, this is ridiculous. The thing is, at some point, remember, what are you going to say? If I represented Jay-Z, I would say, what's the worst we're looking at? Tell me. What is this? What is it? He off Hoffa? What? He shot JR? What did you do? He may have had unsolicited or he might have had what, underage? Okay, now we're talking. Non-consensual. Let's say somebody's knocked out, or like Bill Cosby, or he's just a sleaze bag. Forget that. Let's take the worst case scenario. Underage. Okay, give me the evidence. Now I have a very tough time still with this notion of the idea of anonymous. I understand it. So let's assume he gets to find out specifically, what did I do to anonymous? When there was one individual who said, this was in 2003 or something? What this one case that didn't turn out, this was like 23 years ago. So you're going to bring in a 37-year-old woman who's going to take this stand and say, okay, tell me what happened. See, that's another thing too. All of this can completely, it sounds terrible. It's like, oh my God, this is terrible. Wait until you see her. What do you mean? I've talked to her. Wait until you see her. Yeah, but did you hear what she said? Wait until you see her. Okay, she gets on the stage, well, kind of, no pun intended.
Same thing.
I think she takes a stand, and she's terrible. She's unbelievable. She can't remember anything. She seems crazy. Don't talk about, people thought in the case of E. Jean Carroll that she would never win against Trump because she seems crazy. Well, that doesn't always pay off. Sometimes you don't have. Sometimes it kind of helps be a little bit crazy. But that's the second part. What are the allegations and what's the witness? And who's going to? And it's like, okay, she tells this terrible story. Okay, and then Jay-Z says, I don't know who the hell this woman is. What are you talking about? Who was president? I don't remember. What? Where was the party? Let's assume. Tell me the facts of the case. Going back to the original one. How did you get in? Did you want to get in? Did somebody grab you off the street? No, did you look? What are the allegations? Pick them apart and do it in a way where there's nothing worse when you, do you remember at the end of the Army McCarthy hearings? Remember this when they said, who was it, Welch, who said, at long last, have you no decency? And you never forget this scene. After that, Joe McCarthy was yelling and people just got up and just left. And they looked at him like, and there's nothing worse than, go ahead, what happened? Anything else? Yeah. Okay. And you look at this person like, this sense of, and if that jury says, oh my God, I don't care what it says, I don't care what the allegation, let me ask you this, there's a certain degree of corroboration that is required, especially in the state of New York. What happened? Was there doctors? Was there psychiatrists, people at the time who recalled this? Going back, by the way, to the case of E. Jean Carroll, in this one case, one of the witnesses said, I remember when she called me on the phone the night that happened. And I said, what's the matter with you? Exactly the night she was screaming, I was just done. Call the police. That kind of helps. What do we have here? So if before I was Jay-Z's lawyer, before I'm screaming and yelling at Busby, I'm going to say, take it easy. Not now. Don't lose your steam. This is just the weigh-in. We haven't even started anything yet. Let's see what we've got. What are we doing? Now, I will tell you from Mr. Busby's case, Mr. Busby, you have, no matter how good you are, you have billions and billions. And remember Pelicano from LA, those kind of Anthony, whatever, Arthur Pelicano, whatever. He was the private eye of private eyes. He'd find dirt on you. He really. I would also say, now, Mr. Busby, understand something. Now it got personal. So there's just one of you, but there's the entire billions and billions of people who have access to not only FBI, CIA, local, but every conceivable database you can imagine. If you Picture your feet in Poughkeepsie. Where'd that come from? If you ever did anything wrong, anything, got to think about this, because now you've slapped them, you hit them with the glove, or they're throwing down the gauntlet, whatever the particular metaphor is, and they're going to come after you big time. Not just them, but the industry. Because as I think we talked about this last time, Sean, the way I would point this out is, folks, this isn't the PGA. This isn't the NHL. This is more than just two individuals. This has been going on since the beginning of time, since before the Beatles and the Stones. Remember the Led Zeppelin stories that we heard about?
No.
Fatty Arbuckle, Clara Bow. Go back to Chaplin. He had to leave. Go back. You know what this is about. This is more than just, and listen, anytime there's no excuse to any kind of victimization of children, but you know and I know what this is about. You know and I know what this is about. And this isn't about, just did he or didn't he. This is about a culture. Now, what I told you last time, Sean, was to Black America, and not just, but for the most part, these are icons. This is the heroes. This is the pantheon. These are great people. These are people saying, enough of this. Leave us alone. Who are, and the best part is, excuse me, these victims, I would venture to say, are Black people too. They're both. So don't look too, you know what I mean? Because they're going to try to make this a race business. They're going to definitely do this. So anyway, the plot thickens.
All right, viewers, I know a lot of you are waiting for Ronnie Bow News. We are waiting as well. We've got the lines open to Bev. We've got the lines open to Jag and everyone else. As it comes in, we will update you. We've got loads of questions coming about Diddy and Jay-Z. I'm getting near 3 hours now. I'm going to step down for bed and leave these guys on if they want to keep running with it. But huge thank you to everyone. And all of the links for Lionel, Tommy, Jag, everyone are in the description box below this video. So I'll hand it over to Tommy and Lionel and Shane. And I will be back tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
You wimp.
Good night, sir.
You wimp. When the going gets
only 3 hours.
when the going gets tough, Shane gets going.
That's
There are
it.
people-
Working that time of year too. He'll bring up the whole holiday thing. We're tired of hearing it.
Okay, now he's
Yeah.
gone. Now he's gone. We can talk behind his back. By the way, quick story. I'll be very quickly.
There's no such
Remember
thing,
the
Lionel.
show? This has nothing to do. Remember the show Taxi? Remember the Taxi?
Yes.
Okay, remember the episode where they went to Jim's house, and it was Victor Buono paid Jim's father. He was rich. He went to Harvard and the whole bit. And he said, and the Buono's or Jim's father's name is like Wetherington or something. And he said, Ignatowski. Where did you get that name? He said, it's Star Child spelled backwards. He says, no, it's not. He says, it's not. The great
Now,
The
you wanna
writing
hear
on
something
that-
funny?
The writing
I-
on that show was genius.
There's a
Absolutely.
guy on Facebook that I follow that's in the true crime community, and his name is Jim Ignatowski. I can't even pronounce it.
Yeah.
And I kept wondering where I heard that name from. And as soon as you said Taxi, I mean, I grew up watching that show, and it had to ring a few bells. My bells are slow to ring these days.
Indeed.
And then that same team did a bunch of other stuff, right? They did Barney Miller. They did
Oh, yeah.
Friends.
Oh,
They
were
did
creative
Cheers. Yeah. And then we sold them our
Yeah.
house.
There was also one of
We did.
it was one of the days when the theme song, Bob James, is called Angela. Or Angela is a theme song on the Fender Rose. And this is off of the Bob James, I think it's the Touchdown album. Then Barney Miller,
Love that show.
Heavy bass line.
so what happens was at some time they said, we are giving up commercial time to this song. So now it's boom, boom, that's it.
Yep.
CSI. There were times when we were growing up, here's the story. It's like 3 hours, minute, and then came Johnny. Gilligan's Island went on forever, and then one day, they go, all right, let's go, come on. And then the storm, and then came COVID, and it predicted COVID, and But I can watch those shows over, 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 and over.
Yeah.
The ensemble cast, we will never see the likes of that again. Never.
I tell you, I
Never.
saw Danny DeVito. He and his daughter were on a talk show, and dude, he looks great for his age. I mean, he's it's like he got to a certain look, and he just stayed that way for the past 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, he's about 105, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
No, for real. I mean, he's been around a really long time.
Nah, he's in his late
So
70s, I
he
think.
farts dust. Remember the old joke? He was, but the whole Louis De Palma thing. When I can watch those shows and still think to myself, and by the way, I'm not trying to. I think you're just being sentimental and but no, I don't think so. Now, listen, I will tell you right now that The Sopranos changed everything. That was the last time they even had appointment TV. So I'm not going to take anything away now. It's a different time, but those days were totally. In any event, gentlemen, just to wrap this up, let me ask you your particular insight, because I came in late. If somebody from another planet came in right now and said, "Explain to me the significance of what's going on with Jay-Z or Diddy," what would you say? Why is this important? Who are these people?
That's a great question. And the way I would answer that is, if somebody was brand new to this planet, I would say for the last at least 100 years, we have taken an element of our society and a vocation, right? The people that entertain us, whether it's through sports or music or film or stage, and we've elevated them to such a level that they can literally get away with anything. They can get away with whatever they want, right? And it's, bodies are found or whatever, but these people just continue to go on. And 2025, the reason this is such a huge story this time is because, in my opinion, that when they say, how did he get away with this for 30 years? Because we as a society for 30 years said, who gives a shit? Right now, we're a society that's actually saying, you know what? I think it's time that this stops. I feel like it's a paradigm shift, and that's why we're talking about it. Personally.
Well, and I'd do it an easy way. I'd show a picture of Jay-Z and Diddy and say, this is the worst of us. And then for the religious folks, and I'm not so much so, but show a picture of Jesus or the Bible and show that's the best of us. That's the easiest way to describe it.
See, I'm the defense lawyer. Me loves to sit there and say, I think they are not, put it this way, they are not. I don't want to know these people. I don't like these people. I couldn't tell you, with the exception of New York, Empire, whatever, right. But that's Alicia Keys. But aside from that, I couldn't tell you one thing that doesn't even matter. What I hate is when all of a sudden we talk about something which is nobody wants to talk about. You could not have this happen without groupies. You could not have this happen without people who throw themselves. The guy that I would want to focus my attention on is what happened to Justin Bieber. That's the one that I think. Now, short of that, and I don't anyway tell you, let me tell you something. You can't victim blame or anything like that. And in the case of somebody who's 13 years old, but let's assume that I portray a story. I said, let me tell you what it's like to be Jay-Z. You don't know what this is like. You don't know what this is like. Mick Jagger may know, kind of, but I am a guy. Do you know I had to hire security to keep women off me? Let me show you a list.
I have that problem. I have that problem all the time.
Of course, and I can see why. That's why you have to hide behind that submarine portal there.
Exactly.
But if he said, let me tell you the times when I have been accused of paternity, or I found women in my home. You don't know what this is like. Did TMZ cover that? No. Did I sue anybody because of that? No. Do you know what it's like? I go into a party and there's 9 million people there, all wanting me. So, okay, I'm young and I'm stupid and I'm drunk. And I walk into a room, it's pitch black or dark. I don't know who these people are. I didn't bring them. I don't know what they're doing there. And they're throwing themselves at me. Now, I am not a priest. I am not a monk. I am a, I guess I'm a kind of a regular sort of a person. And I am telling you, maybe I should have been a little bit more careful in my predispositions to this stuff. But I did not go after children. I don't know who's who. Now, you know, and I know, when it comes to strict liability, there is no defense. There is no defense. If I don't know about you or most people, but I will venture to say you've never seen a driver's license of people you have been romantically involved with, because it just, there was no need to. I mean, but for all you knew, if I said, hey, guess what? This person you were with, guess how old? 12. What? And that's it. You can say, but I never, it doesn't work like you think it works.
And
My
they call
God,
it
you're being possessed.
Yo, sorry to interrupt everybody. Can we just put a 1 in the side chat if you would like to collectively, just because it's Christmas, collectively try and just try a little bit of seasonal manifestation with me. There's 4,000 people watching. Okay, I'm going to put a picture up on the screen right now, and we're just for fun, okay? Because, you know, this is all just hocus pocus, right? This is all this nonsense, right? So let's all just look at this picture on the screen and just focus and just push all that positive energy towards Mr. Ronnie Bow. Okay, imagine as if we're all getting a nice little bit of pizza dough, right? A little bit of protective pizza dough, and we're all just kind of putting our little blobs of pizza dough together in this beautiful, enlightened dome of goodness. So let's just all close our eyes and just take some deep breaths and just push that positive energy and that positive manifestation out. 4,000 of us just pushing that out. We'll just do this for maybe a minute, and then we'll get back to our awesome live stream. It's a few more seconds. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will keep you all updated. Sorry for just jumping in on you there, boys. Appreciate
What
you.
happened?
We're in the
As long as
middle
you've been
of.
quiet, Lionel. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
We're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of it. I'll keep you updated. I appreciate it.
Did I miss something there?
What?
He came in, he said a prayer, did something funny, then pushed something
We
away.
put
Yeah,
pizza
it's,
dough on somebody. I think we put pizza dough on him. Is he okay?
Yeah,
What
he's
the hell's
fine. He was
going
like
on
doing a neat little thing for Ronnie Bow. So I thought he was staying though. I didn't know he was just going to take off.
Is he okay? Do we know?
Ron? Yeah,
Yeah.
Ron's fine.
No, not
Well,
Ron.
that Ron's fine. Ronnie Bow, we do not know.
No,
At this moment, we don't know.
So I've tried to call his phone multiple times that I've gotten it where it was kicked to voicemail, like it was off, and then this time I called, it got delivered, so it got the message, but nobody's responded yet.
Okay, because if somebody just tuned in, that looked like an in memoriam or something. I'm going to make sure we don't confuse somebody with, all this.
Oh no, Ron's Ron's got like crazy stuff he does sometimes, and he was doing that just then. So
Okay,
that's probably not the best way to word it, but I call it crazy stuff. But it's not. I'm not. I believe now. I'm a believer now. So
believer in what?
Miss Bev came on earlier,
Yeah.
Lionel, and Miss Bev does the crystals and all that neat stuff.
Yeah.
Long and short of it, earlier, Jaguar Wright and Ronnie are both in Illinois. Okay, so Miss Bev had no clue of that conversation, and she pictured Ronnie being in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He is in Chicago.
Okay.
She didn't know that, so it was just. And Ron does some of the same things with his beliefs and all too. So he was just kind of saying I guess what we would consider a prayer, and good energy kind of thing for him. So, but yeah, that's the best way I could describe it. But I don't know, man. It's crazy. I've got some documents I'll send you, Lionel, too, that Ronnie was supposedly speaking to a former CIA agent who was harassing him, sent him really off the wall text messages, and then sort of threatening towards the end of it. Jaguar's got him. I've got him. And some also a summons or a legal document that he got, that he was being hauled into court for something from October, that he sent me about a week ago, and I didn't see it. It was on his other phone. And just weird, crazy messages. I don't believe the guy's in the CIA. I mean, but he does work for the government. I found his Facebook.
He's a postman.
On there's definitely 100%. I mean, it looks like it's legit.
Well, I say this with all due respect. I sometimes have jumped in and I don't know what the hell anybody's talking about. So I back off, and I if you don't know the background, there is, because as you know, sometimes there's a momentum that can create, or that is created, that to me is rather confusing. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's also kind of moving at a, this is, nobody seems to really, everyone is concerned, but not a lot of people, know much. So we spend a lot of time speculating, but prayers are always a good idea, right? Nothing wrong with that.
Well, and the good thing is, I mean, we hadn't heard anything since Monday. Ron actually talked to him or talked to someone on his phone last night. So it's better than what we thought. I mean, last night to now could be anything. He could be traveling. He could be with family. He could just have bad service. So it's not, it's a little off the wall. I mean, he did message one viewer or somebody, or one of the people that are part of the community, that he needed $40. He and his girl were on the outs, and he needed a place to stay or to get a room. That was the last communication we thought we had with him. But he did talk to Ron last night, and it was in lingo that he and Ronnie share, as opposed to it being somebody else trying to mimic being Ronnie, So I don't know, man. This is just odd, just in the face of all that we're looking at right now.
Well, gentlemen, I wish you nothing the best. Merry Christmas. I guess post Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. But do we do Kwanzaa anymore in this country? Remember when Kwanzaa was like up? It just started like on a Tuesday, and by Thursday it was just gone. I don't know. About, so I wish
it depends on your nationality, I guess. Yeah, Kwanzaa's still a big thing in this country, as far as I know of.
Well, put it this way: I went to the Hallmark store. They've got everything: National Administrative Assistance Day, National Grandparents' Day, Kwanzaa, rather a split. By the way, we're just to leave you with this one thing, and keep this in mind. Officially, I'm here in New York City with my wife, and the drone situation is over because we forgot about it. We lose steam. So the key to everything, whether it's Diddy, this, drones, this terrible, you heard this horrible story. This woman set a fire on the subway in New York City. Yeah, this is just, and the police officer walking by like,
There's a YouTuber that I used to be a moderator for, that the way I read his post, he was on the subway when it happened, and he's had it on his channel, but I haven't seen any more since then. He's stepped away from YouTube and everything. And I want to get in touch with him. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, but just to see if that was actually true, or if he was doing it for clickbait, because it would be hell if it'd be awful if it was. But
Tommy, what part of the country are you roughly without specific?
I'm in Maryland. I'm on the East Coast.
Shane's in the East Coast, and Tommy?
I am in Arizona currently. I'm from the Northeast, but I'm currently in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, I'm an hour from
witness protection, kind of you and Sammy the Bull.
Yes, so you've heard.
Went to Arizona, King Tut. Anyway,
that's right. The safe and sound, tucked up here in Arizona.
There we go. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm going to beg off. Have a great and a glorious day, Shane, Tommy. All the best, and to all of our listeners, happy holidays. Talk to you soon, I hope.
Yes, Lionel. Good. Yep. Thanks for stopping in, buddy.
Appreciate you. Have a great day.
Yeah, Tommy, what do you think about that? I meant to bring that up earlier about that whole thing with that guy doing that to that person.